Your example.
Challenge for you, Mr. Mundell. It's a pleasure, Mr. Mundell, to serve under your chairmanship, and I, of course, endorse what all colleagues have spoken about. I intend to concentrate my remarks on e-petition 574305 regarding ear cropping of dogs in the UK, which is an abhorrent practice. In recognition that there is no medical justification for ear cropping, the procedure itself has been banned in the UK for over 100 years and is currently covered by Section 5 of the Animal Welfare Act 2006 as an illegal mutilation, and I'm incredibly grateful to Pennine vets in my constituency for briefing me on this very important issue. The current position in the UK is that whilst it is illegal to conduct this mutilation, it is not illegal to import a dog with cropped ears. This has resulted in several issues. The first being that owners and breeders can send their puppies abroad to be cropped and then return to the UK, only to claim that the dog is a legal import. This quite frequently involves not only transporting a puppy that is too young for travel, but also that means that if the cropping is done in a country where cropping is also illegal, the enforcement agencies in that country are not able to bring any prosecutions as the evidence, i.e. the cropped puppy, has left their jurisdiction. The second issue is that the ability to import cropped dogs has also been relied upon by pro-croppers to hide a very dark backstreet practice, where breeders or owners are undertaking illegal DIY cropping, quite frequently with no medical knowledge or training, rudimentary equipment, no anaesthetic, and no post-operative pain relief for the dogs. The ability to import cropped dogs also extends to rescue dogs. It is imperative that genuine rescue dogs are protected and not demonised due to the abuse they have suffered. The pain and suffering caused to the dogs does not cease post-procedure. One of the breeds frequently cropped is a Doberman, a large and noble breed. For Doberman puppies, ear cropping can mean not only the severance of a significant part of their ear flap, but also months of splinting and or taping to encourage the remaining ear to stand erect. This is not a guaranteed result. It can and does fail, leaving the dog either put through further surgery to try to obtain the original desired look, or with one ear erect and one ear flapping. Wound infections are also not uncommon. It is utterly abhorrent, and I fully endorse and support the government for including this within the action plan for animal welfare. I have to finish, Mr Mundell, by echoing something that my friend from Penrith and the Border said, not forgetting the cats. On numerous occasions I've stood with my honourable friend, the very best minister, and talked about Gizmo's law. Gizmo's law is something that is not included, and I stand to be corrected, in the plan for animal welfare. It is an animal welfare issue that is incredibly serious and is very, very important to people in my constituency, and I know that other colleagues, including the Shadow Minister, has had meetings with Helder Abrahams, a force of nature, to try and bring this important legislation, this important law into statute. I'm very grateful that the government adopted Tuck's law, which was part of a private member's bill that I brought, and I hope that Gizmo's law is going to follow very shortly. Thank you, Mr.
Abhorrent trade. On dogs subject to mutilations, the honourable gentleman raised in particular DIY cropping kits. I would remind him and remind everybody in the room, and indeed remind the general public, that cropping is illegal in this country. It is an offence under the Animal Welfare Act 2006. Later this month, that the sentences available under that Act become much longer, as honourable members know. There should not be dogs with cropped ears available domestically, except for those which have already, sadly, been cropped. We are going to bring in powers to enable us to bring in new restrictions on welfare grounds in the future. We will need to work very closely on closing the loopholes, but I think all of us and the public have a role to play in calling out bad practice where it is seen. It's not only sharks and puppies that the government intends to protect. We have really ambitious plans across the animal welfare spectrum. The Animal Welfare Sentencing Act became law, as I've already mentioned, which means that from the end of this month, the prison sentence available for animal cruelty will move from 6 months to 5 years, which is something that I think many people in this room should be very proud of. We introduced the Animal Welfare Sentience Bill, which will recognise and enshrine animal sentience in law and make sure that ministers take animal welfare into account when making policy generally. I can't break Mr Mundell without mentioning farm animal welfare. So many animals are affected by the laws and regulations in this space. Very, very shortly, the Honourable Member from Southend West will be very, very pleased to know we will introduce measures to end the export of live animals for fattening and slaughter, and indeed to update the law on livestock worrying. And it is important that honourable members continue to watch this space on keeping primates and how that is regulated in future as well. Gizmo's law, I can never look at the honourable gentleman for Bury North without calling him Gizmo, actually. He mentions this frequently to me. It is awful to lose a cat to a road traffic accident. I have done so myself. We have a manifesto commitment to introduce compulsory microchipping of cats, as he knows, and we have consulted on this fully this year. We will respond later this year. If legislation isn't imminent on this, I can undertake to continue to engage with him on this important area. In summary, Mr Mundell, there is a great deal to do, but I would like to reassure members of the government's commitment to protecting and enhancing the welfare of all animals.